Hello Virgo, Virgo Rising, and Virgo Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card forecast for the week starting January 2nd, 2016. And of course, if you'd like to get a session with me or sign up for the online classes, tarot tutorship classes start on the 8th of January, so if you want to sign up for that and join the class, you do need to do so at my website, integrativemysticism.com. I'll be sending out forms and reading material and all that kind of stuff later on this week as we get closer to the date. So, what is going on with your astrology this week, Virgo? Well, for the majority of the early to mid parts of the week, we've got the Sun forming a close sextile to Mars between your fifth house of love and romance, Capricorn, and your seventh house of partnerships, Pisces. And so it's starting off with a very big romantic feel for a lot of you Virgo people. And when the Sun and Mars come together, usually we are starting to see more passion about trying to get a relationship cemented sooner than later. This can go a little bit fast for those of you who are in newer relationships, still in the early stages, that first couple of months. And so we may have to pay attention to where a partner, or maybe within ourselves, we're kind of involuntarily moving much quicker than is sensible. But it is a good sign that we both want it that much. And the nice thing about the Sun and with Mars connecting as deeply as they are is that there's a lot more one-on-one time with your partner this week as well. And for those of you who are single and looking, you may find yourselves kind of put in a lot of one-on-one situations with a crush or a potential partner just randomly, and it's more than a coincidence. So later on this week, we've got Mercury moving backwards, again, more so because it's still retrograde, into your fourth house of home and family. And it's only going to be there for a few days, and I did mention this in the astrology for the month as well. But with Mercury in your fourth house for the next few days retrograde, we have a chance to kind of go back to the past a little bit and reconnect, or maybe even open old chapters that need to be reread or rediscussed with a relative, or possibly even with a roommate. And this actually could be quite healing, quite cathartic. This could be a chance to reconnect, or maybe even fix a relationship that's become, a bit challenged in recent weeks or months. A discussion will also be put on the table regarding your home life, your family life, that was, we maybe been discussing this, back in October, November 2016. We could also be reopening discussions, or maybe even some tense conversations from around that time with friends or relatives, but this is in the interest of fixing whatever was done or left undone around that time as well. So we are working on actually getting all of our ducks in a row and getting a clean slate here. It's all constructive. So what's going on with your cards this week, we may ask? Well, for your spiritual advice, we do have the card of Bliss. And this week is actually going to be very easy for a lot of you Virgo people, because we're focusing so much on getting into setting yourself a safe space, to be honest. Because a lot of this card can talk about contentment, safety, and security. And what can usually happen is that with the Bliss card, you need to be focusing on where things need to start being settled for good, fixed for good, or where you can also set a standard, whether it's an atmospheric standard or an environmental standard of peace around yourself and around your space and your job, or around your space and your family, and learning to set a new standard for bliss. Because what happens is sometimes if there's no standard, people or situations can get out of control more quickly. But you can set up a time and a space around yourself where it says, no, this is peace, alright? And there is a standard of peace here. And it may even dissuade or discourage the manifestation or the contrivance of chaos and dysfunction by other people and circumstances as well, just to again set that standard. So we're going to be working on doing that this week. I know I will. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Seven of Wands reversed. This week might feel a bit overwhelming on the work front for a lot of Virgo people, and so you're going to want to, again, pay attention to where we're not actually enforcing our, our boundaries and our standards as much as we could. Because sometimes the Seven of Wands inverted can say people could be trying to take advantage of us. Whether it's take advantage of our time, keep us later without compensation, or possibly misuse or abuse a service that, that you're offering. This could also indicate for those of you looking for a new job that people might be, changing the terms of, of hire, or the terms of the new position, or what the new job description entails, just out of the blue. Now, the Seven of Wands inverted says we don't necessarily have to accept those terms, okay? We don't have to sit there and be meek and just kind of take it. In fact, with the Seven of Wands inverted, it's kind of saying, no, Virgo, like, you do need to, again, set and maintain that standard this week. And don't worry about alienating yourself, you won't be. But in a lot of ways, sometimes earning the respect of others means also standing up to them. And that could actually have a lot to do with, whoever these people are who are just suddenly deciding to be a little bit more flit-footed and disorganized. The nice thing about the Seven of Wands reversed, though, is there's plenty of opportunity to make money and make cash. And if you're not careful, again, you could be overwhelmed with those opportunities. But you will still you'll still be getting paid. You'll still be getting paid. For your Earth sector, we just did that. For air, for your communications, we do have the King of Pentacles inverted. This is talking about your friends and your relatives. The King of Pentacles inverted can show up for a fellow Earth sign, a Virgo like yourself, a Taurus or a Capricorn, or somebody with a lot of those qualities. But when they're inverted or reversed, we tend to see somebody who has a preoccupation with status, with money, possibly throwing their weight around a bit too much. You see, the King of Pentacles inverted can almost seem a bit more like an Ebenezer Scrooge, or Bill Murray's portrayal of Scrooge in the movie Scrooge from the late 80s, and whenever I see this card, I think of, again, that sort of workaholic, that sort of, status-crazed workaholic. And this could be somebody that you've been working with or collaborating with, or perhaps somebody who's just too preoccupied with achievement and ambition for its own sake. And this can cause wedges in relationships with relatives and friends, because when some people put so much emphasis on things like money and achievement, well, they're not even really putting an emphasis on having a good connection. They're just looking at people at surface values, and it's very superficial. And we may have to deal with those challenges coming from a relative this week. Or we may even be noticing this bad habit coming, from one of our children or possibly a partner. So it might be important to ask, well, what are we protecting by taking on this kind of personality? For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Ace of Swords inverted. Again, not actually taking up your own cause, not actually even using your own power, can be a challenge with the Ace of Swords reversed, because it's basically talking about, again, not taking your own initiative. And so Virgo, where are you trying to be polite by not speaking up? It doesn't look good to take a bunch of crap and then pretend you're going to take your power back by getting revenge, or, or trying to correct it in the aftermath. Sometimes you have to be there in the moment. And I'm only speaking this way to you because I'm a Virgo myself. And with the Ace of Swords reversed as your challenge, it's kind of saying, where are we being too passive? Where are we perhaps not working on articulating the grievance or the correction that needs to be made? Because sometimes it's not it's not whether or not we say it, it's whether or not we say it correctly. What I think the Ace of Swords reversed is mostly talking to, though, is, again, with that Seven of Wands reversed. Where are we maybe trying too hard to please people? Sometimes we think, okay, well, we need to please people because we want to keep those friends around, or we don't want to chase business away, or we don't want to have a tense relationship with our neighbors, or we don't want to offend a potential lover. But the truth is, eventually you're going to have to tell the truth about your feelings or your grievances anyway, and you might as well tell them honestly in the moment than shock them about not liking it later. It's just the truth. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Judgment card upright. So this could be a week of some very, very strong discussions, but not in a bad way, because the Judgment card talks about sort of a test, or kind of, a graduation type of moment in a relationship. We've already got so much going on in the astrology there. The Judgment card can talk about either a second chance, or even a purification, or a clearing or a cleansing of a current love situation so that it will actually function better in the future. or possibly even finally getting something set in stone, becoming official for those of you who've been waiting for an opportunity to become official. One of the things I like about the Judgment card, though, is that the second time around is always better. It's usually, again, it's a test and it's an evaluation of whether or not we are both, ready to, participate in the relationship we want the way we're supposed to. But I think that everyone's going to pass this test with flying colors. For those of you who are currently coupled, this may have a little bit more to do with a test of where you and your partner are willing to go in your futures together. Are we actually willing to, make a sacrifice on the mundane for the future we want to have? This may have nothing to do with the relationship between the two of you, but how you handle things in the household. But either way, that test is coming. It's sort of like a big moment. It's a climax kind of moment for you guys. And I like it for you, though, because the Judgment card upright usually does indicate, again, some kind of evolution in this relationship, sort of a big breakthrough soon to follow. So that is your forecast, Virgo. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.